Jai Sri Ram. Welcome everybody. Welcome Vinay Ji to Bharat Marg. Appreciate you joining. Thank you for joining. And today is an important topic we are going to discuss, friends. It's about Canadian schools destroyed. Okay, how the Canadian schools are being destroyed. And yeah, our question is, we have seen this happening in Indian schools. Okay, and we will compare both, and probably Vinay Ji can talk about it. Is government promoting private schools? Is that the agenda for them? We will love to know from Vinay Ji. Okay, and I'll say why we ask this question as we go along. But will you be as a parent? Will you be safe and happy to send your child to the public school in Canada? If not, where will you send? Is the question. This is what is creating the crisis in the schools of Canada, says the teachers. And we will discuss it all about it. And here is our political analyst, Vinay Ji. If you have any questions to ask, and how is the public school system? Let's talk about it. But before going further, please make sure to like the video, comment on the video, share the video as much as you can. And if you have any questions, post it over the here. And also, friends, make sure to subscribe the channel if you did it already and press the notification bell so that you can stay connected with us and come into the conversation and become the part of it as we go live. Vinay Ji, thank you for joining us. Okay, and the question is, Canadian schools get destroyed. Okay, government promoting government promoting private school, is that what the agenda is? Let me show you why I am asking this question, so it's kind of uh, easy for you. See, our schools are becoming violent because we let it happen. Okay, classrooms are getting more dangerous as assaults, bullying and drug use are on the rise. Why aren't the powers that willing to be talk about it? Why aren't the powers willing to talk about it? Okay, is an article. And of course, this one. This happened in one of the top schools in Mississauga. Okay, uh, let's uh, let's talk about it here. Teacher alleges state of crisis in Mississauga school, and the board launches investigation. This is the Tompkin Road School. It's considered as one of the premier schools in this area. Okay, so what's happening, Vinayji? Jai Sri Ram.
Yeah, Jai Shri Ram. First of all, I would like to clarify and let the viewers know that the 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 top two institutions in Canada,
Mm-hmm.
which is well respected around the world, across the
Mm-hmm.
globe, and inside the country,
Mm-hmm.
and that has been a kind of a hallmark, I should say,
Mm-hmm.
of Canada, of Canadian culture and Canadian heritage. Right.
Mm-hmm.
One is the hospital system, right, and number two is the school system,
Mm-hmm.
and both are free to the taxpayers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, completely to all Canadians, whether you're a landed immigrant or a citizen. It is
Mm-hmm.
these two systems are completely free to to all the Canadians.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that is the pride of Canada. Actually, these two institutions are the pride of Canada.
Basic things, education and health are free. You are absolutely
Absolutely,
right, and they are
absolutely,
classy. At least they used
absolutely.
to be classy.
And this is how it has been all through several years, like,
Mm-hmm.
over many changes in government and whatever. Canada has maintained and retained these two institutions, and they still
Mm-hmm.
are pride of the country. However, lately what I've been hearing, especially in the last, I should say, maybe in the last 5 years, maybe, give or take, right,
Mm-hmm.
I've been hearing issues with the healthcare system and issues with the school system. And I'm just hoping and praying that the politicians, the leaders of this country, don't let these two systems down. They are the pride of our country, and I'm hoping that the leaders of the country will safeguard these two institutions and safeguard the interests of the Canadians. So now
Mhm,
coming to the incident that happened.
mhm,
Tompkin Road Middle School is in Mississauga. It's part of the Peel District School Board.
mhm,
Apparently, in the last little while, there has been a lot of incidents, and it's a middle school, which means
mhm,
it's grade 6 to grade 8. And
mhm.
I'll tell you, for a lot of viewers who may not know, that grade 6 starts from age 12, okay? And grade 8, you finish at 14, okay?
Right.
So ages 12, 13, and 14, these are just kind of teenagers. They're just like teenagers, actually, and going into their teens. So very
Mhm,
young students, and they're not high school. You got to keep that in mind. So they're
mhm,
not, closer to 17, 18, or whatever. These are
mhm,
12, 13, and 14-year-old kids.
mhm,
And apparently, there have been a lot of unsafe, activities going on in this school, in this particular school.
mhm,
And this is the one that we're talking about, because this is the school that is in the news lately, right?
mhm,
And the school has seen so much unsafe activities like violence and teasing and stuff like that. One of the teachers, okay, in the school, sent an anonymous letter to the Peel District School Board.
mhm.
Okay. Now, in this letter, the person, the whoever sent the letter, did not say who he or she was, nothing about the person. Okay. It was an anonymous letter, because obviously you don't want to say anything and then the person gets suspended or
Mhm.
terminated or whatever, right? So in the letter, and this letter is now on all social media and the
Public
newspapers,
domain, yes.
yeah, everywhere. So in the letter, there he or she. Let's just use one gender here, just
Mhm.
for because I don't want to keep switching he or she. So let's
Yeah,
say
but
he.
yeah, then you are not being inclusive anyway.
Yeah, but you know what? Right now, I don't care, because this
Okay.
inclusivity is becoming a huge pain in the on the wrong side, actually. So
Right.
let me just use this just one gender, just to kind of
Mhm,
be neutral there. So this person, he has actually sent the letter, and he has said that this letter has, I mean, this school has faced innumerable, countless unsafe interactions. The climate of our school is one of violence, fear, and is well on its way to being one of long-lasting trauma for many students. Okay. And then he goes on to say students have defecated on the floor of bathrooms and rubbed their feces on the wall. Students are threatening others with exacto knives. They bring exacto knives. 12, 13, and 14-year-olds are bringing exacto knives and will threaten any physical violence to any staff or students in the building. And these students are so scared to go to the bathroom so much that they soil themselves at school. And this is unbelieving. It's pretty alarming, he said. So this apparently went to the school board chair, David Green, and this is his reaction. Oh, it's pretty alarming, and that's why we are taking it very, very seriously. And guess what they did after the whole incident, right? This letters went out, and nothing happened for a couple of days. And then suddenly there was a bit of kind of activity there in the Peel District School Board, and then they sent some people over to the school, the middle school, and then they said, "Oh, you know what? We are going to change the administration." So they
But
brought
this is after it became a news.
after it came to the
They
news.
they wanted to they wanted to hide it out, but it became a news.
Correct, exactly. This guy said, and also I think it got published in newspapers, and also went on TV and radio and all other and web media, as well as, some people, right now, if the a lot of these TV stations and a lot of these radio stations are in cahoots with the government. Actually, they don't publish anything that is against the government.
And they may
So
lose the funding.
including newspapers. So what people do now is they've realized that, hey, listen, if you don't publish it in your newspaper, or if you don't publish it on or sure on TV or radio, I don't care. I'm going to go to the social media, or I'm going to go to internets or whatever. You've got a
Through
lot
the
more channels
influencers
these
in
days.
the
Yeah,
social media, yeah.
exactly. So you can do a lot more today than what you could do before, right? And so Green, the apparently sent the superintendent of that area to visit the school, and then yeah, they basically have changed the administration. And what does that mean? Change the administration means this principal is still the same, and they've brought in two new vice principals. That is basically all they've done.
Hmm. But let me ask you this, Vinay Ji. I was talking to the teachers, as I said in the initial time. This is from the North York region, okay? York
Mhm.
region, not from the Peel School. And they say they are experiencing close to 75% increase in violence. Humongous amount of violence they are
Yeah.
experiencing. I was talking to the teachers. I don't want to name the name because I don't have permission for it. So I'll just share the content. Okay.
Yeah.
I asked them, say me what is the reason for it. Okay. What is the top reasons for it?
Hmm.
Number one, the number one message they gave is easy availability of the drugs. Okay. Which
Yeah.
is promoted by the government, marijuana especially.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And the bathrooms are used for puffing and
Yeah.
doping, you know and this is the young kids. Okay,
Mhm.
number one. Number two, okay, most of the people who behave violence in this case, they say it's from the black community. I asked them what is the reason, how it is, because they cannot talk these things openly. Okay,
Right.
so they said it is from the black community. Couple of reasons for it. Number one, they said, I'm going to ask a question. I'm giving you the scenario of my discussion so that you can answer it accordingly. Okay, number
Mhm.
one, because more of them live in the homes, they don't have a united families, those kind of things, how the homes are, where they get abused, and are foster moms who take care of 12 to 15 children for the sake of the money, you know what I mean. All those things are there. So these things create stress on the kids, and they end up behaving like that. Number two is the means one is the family setup, second is the drug easy availability for the drugs which is promoted by the government, that is marijuana, which is being
Mhm.
used inside the school. Number three, the most of the new immigrants, okay, who come here, from Yemen, or things like that, they come with the cultural
Right.
this thing also. So this is what being said mainly. But they say if the black child comes and says they can walk around when the class is doing, the teacher cannot say anything to the black child. Okay, or they can go out and come back in. So what they do is they go out and take the lunch box or something like that, those kind of things. So this is a ethnicity problem. They said, one last thing I'll say you, they had a max coaching for the teachers on how to increase the teaching of the mathematics for the children in the Yards school board. Okay,
Yeah.
and for half day they talked about how to deal with a black child. Okay, and then I was told the teachers walked out. They threatened or walked out, saying that you called us for the mathematics thing, but here you are teaching us the ethnicity thing, you know
Mhm.
so then the rest of the half was dedicated for mathematics. So this is the thing I had with the teacher. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I totally agree. I mean, like, the statistics that you just gave me about the 75% increase, right? It is sad to know that, because I mean, obviously this is coming from genuine sources, and I won't question it. Uh, because I was looking up an article in Toronto Star, which is a premier newspaper publication in Toronto, and in about this particular incident, about this Tompkin Middle School incident, right? And there was a comment on the article from a Toronto principal. He just has given his first name as Bruce, but obviously he doesn't want to give out his real
Identity.
name, I'm assuming. And he said, this is pretty standard throughout most schools in Toronto. Obviously, there are varying degrees of disrespect, violence, apathy, and foul language, but it has been on the increase in all schools since the pandemic. It seems that middle schools will see the worst of it since a student in grade 7 this year hasn't had a full year of school since grade 3, and that has created huge gaps academically and socially. You understand what I mean, right?
Yes,
During the
yes, yes.
pandemic, they almost missed 2 years of school, and they were online, and that is the reason a grade 3 missed grade 4 and grade 5, and now is in grade 6 or grade 7. Now these are the kids who have missed almost 2 to 3 years of school. Actually, 2020 is this when this happened actually, and they missed the partial part of that 2020 academic year, and then they started the September year, and they missed that full year in 2020 2021, and then 2021 to 2022 they missed the second year. So 2022 September is when schools started regular. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
so basically almost 2.5 years of school they missed, right? So
Mm-hmm.
this is a huge issue, and apparently he also blames the government, saying that the education has been cut drastically. The government can use all of their talking points and talk about billions of dollars, but every school has less caring adults in the building, which means that the teacher to student ratio has reduced. Okay. So in the past, the teacher to student ratio used to be 1 is to 15, 1 is to 20, in somewhere in that range, right? But now it's almost 1 is to 30 to 1 is to 40 or something like that. You understand where I'm coming
Yep,
from?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
this is a huge issue. So a teacher now who was managing 15 to 20 kids before has to manage almost 30 to 40 kids. Okay. And
We
likewise,
cannot
when
we cannot manage 1 to 2 at home.
exactly, and these kids are
My
now
God.
on the playground during their lunch breaks, during their snack break, during their nutrition break, and stuff like that. And one teacher is managing, or maybe two teachers are managing about 100 kids or more. And maybe there'll be extra these what do you call those, they're not the regular teachers, they're kind of
Mhm.
the helps, who actually come in to help out in the schools and support the school system and the teachers, and they're there. But the thing is, this kids don't care, because they know that these guys have no powers. They cannot do anything on that. And they, although the government brings in social workers, psychologists, speech and language therapists, workers, and occupational therapists, all this is there for just the for decoration, I should say. But really, none of them have any powers. And coming to your second point about the blacks, again, the school system has kind of recently, after all these incidents against the black community, what we saw in the United States and in Canada and all of that, it's become a huge issue there. So the government is basically kind of patching up. It's like a band-aid solution, and they're bringing in this
Like
thing called,
reservation system in India.
exactly, equitability, equanimity, equity and equality and whatever, all that fancy words, right? And it's basically they're saying, oh, these are communities that have been underprivileged, and they've been kind of put down in the past. So we need to bring them up, and we got to give opportunities for these kids. And I am not saying it's a bad thing, but it's again, it's not a good thing for the other students who come in genuinely to learn, are now being compromised. and
No,
and now,
you teach them more. You be kind to them, but it's not that you cannot walk around the class when the teacher is. You can disrespect the
exactly,
teacher.
there has to be some amount
That
of discipline.
there should be
you
a
know
line. You are not. You, in fact, these politicians, not doing good things for the black community. They wantedly are in the way of pampering. They are destroying the community. That's what I will say.
100%. I totally agree with you. You know what? Rather than actually improving the community, you're actually making them even worse, because now, I've heard from teachers that apparently there's a gradation system, right, in the school system.
Mhm.
And if for any reason you mark a black student below a certain thing, right, then that teacher is going to be reprimanded by either the vice principal or the principal, and say that no, 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 you cannot give this person a grade, like a D or a C. You have to bring him up to at least a B plus.
Y-
But when the teacher questions, like, how can I do that if the person has not even handed his assignments, has not done well in his tests, has not done well in his classroom? How do I do that? They say, oh, no, no, you have to give that opportunity. You have to. Otherwise, these kids will remain where they are. But the thing is, you're falsifying the documents. You're basically saying a D student who's genuinely a D student is now being given a B plus, and this is going to go into that person's head.
you know
And
you
then
know
next thing is, that person is going to say, oh, you know what? Whatever I was studying, I don't need to study anymore. I don't need to submit my assignments because they're going to give me a B plus anyways. So why do I
Exactly.
care?
Absolutely.
This
And
is
I,
the
I, I
mentality
just
of students.
want to I just want to say here, Vinay Ji, with you when you're talking, and to the government, this is a community that has given Ben Carson kind of top doctors. Unbelievable community. But all you are doing is destroying the community by with your white guilt. That's what I'll say. Liberal white guilt is what it is in work right now.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know what? It's. I think the government is basically, it's mismanaged. It's like the people who are in the government do not have a proper vision, do not have the leadership qualities, do not have the grassroots level knowledge of things that goes on in schools. Okay, they're sitting high up in the ivory towers, and they're making those fancy decisions, and they don't understand what is at the school level. And they, if at all they need to know, they bring in these management companies, and pay them thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, and get them to do some studies and blah blah blah. And these guys are also sitting in ivory towers. They don't go to the school and find out what's going on at the grassroots level. It's unfortunate, but the thing is, the whole system needs a systemic cleanup, a systemic change.
Mo-
Otherwise, this school, the two institutions that I talked about earlier, the school system and the healthcare system, are going to go to dogs if we don't take care of it right now.
Vinay, one last question for you. We are almost approaching the end. One last question. See, I have gone to government school in India. They
Mhm.
used to be very good. I'm sure you would have gone, or I don't know. But I went to the government school and studied there. Excellent school. It was one of the top ranking school. This is exactly how the government schools were destroyed in India. It was so destroyed that the parents were afraid to send the kids there because there were too many violence and abusive languages. So they thought, okay, let's put our savings and send them to the private school. Is the government somehow wanting to destroy the public school and promote the private school? Is in the similar fashion? Is my question. Last question.
I mean, like, you know what? I'll tell you, a lot of my own friends and family, they've sent kids to private schools, because they. I mean, this is not now as a result of these issues that I talked about, but I'm talking in the last 15, 20 years that I've
Yeah,
known
but
people.
will it force more people to do so? That's a question. Yeah,
So,
sorry.
and the private schools are very, very nice. And I remember one of my good friends telling me just a few years ago. He said he sends his kids. He used to send them to public school, and he switched them to private school as a result of all this violence and all that stuff. So now I have a feeling more and more people are looking into those options. But I don't know if the government has an agenda. I don't want to comment on something I'm not sure about. But you know what, if this happens and if this trend continues, I'm pretty sure that a lot of people will now, because of free education, and like you mentioned in India, right, people will start saving money. People will look at other means of incomes. People now will have multiple people who are in the family working, maybe husband and wife, maybe the husband's parents, maybe the wife's parents. They bring in all these people, collect all the income, and then send the kids to the private school. Who knows what's going to happen, right? But I hope that it doesn't happen. But if this trend continues, it's going to happen, because people don't want to send their own kids to schools where there is violence, where they're being threatened, where they're being bullied, and where there is so much discrimination. Because I'm not a black, because I have a brown skin, or I'm a white guy, okay, I'm being discriminated because I have to study really double or triple the work, that amount of effort that a black kid puts in, because just to get my B plus or an A. But a black kid can walk away with nothing, and that is discrimination, right? That is not equitability, that is
That means
discrimination.
I am more concerned for them than for you, because
I,
my heart goes for them, because you
Absolutely.
are
And these kids,
destroying
a
the
lot of
community.
I
The
know a lot of
community,
absolutely, I work
absolutely.
with the black community, and I work very
It
closely
has
with
given
them.
so many intellectuals.
Absolutely, and I've seen that, and kids are, some of them are very genuine, but the thing is, they also have limitations in their family, the upbringing, and
Yeah.
single
You help
parenting, and
them.
whatever, right?
Yeah, you help them. Don't spoil them like this.
Exactly, help them, don't spoil them.
And
Absolutely.
second largest community the teacher was mentioning to me in York side. Okay, not here. No, yeah, so you don't hear the Punjabi name into it. Okay, is the Sri Lankan community. Okay, Sri Lankan
Wow.
Tamils.
Right.
And then Jamaican over there, you know,
Mhm.
and then the new immigrants who come from the Arab countries. That's
Yeah.
exactly what they were ranking the
Yeah.
crime, this thing, But anyway, we wish and feel that the benefits what you get in Canada is not going to disappear anytime soon. Is
I
what
hope
we
not.
pray.
That's all I'm hoping.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's kids will get a good
It'll be
education.
really
And
sad if that those two institutions are destroyed.
friends, what do you think about it? Do you agree with our message? And Vinay Ji here, please let us know by liking it, commenting it, and sharing it. Thank you, Vinay Ji, for coming and pouring your heart always, like always. Okay, thank you. Hare
Obviously.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Jai Jai Sri Ram.